Alright, U240E. The complaint on this one is it quits moving. 10mm on your speed sensor. 10mm on your neutral switch and your wiring. 7/8 on this nut right here, just loosen it up. You don't have to take it all the way off. It helps make this easier to get off. Speed sensors are both the same. I do get in the habit of marking them because some of these, really on the 151s, but they have a blue one up here, and you want to make sure you get in the habit of doing things, that way you do it every time. 12mm that hold these in. On the front case. The bolts that go in the bell housing here are different, they're longer. $12mm on the end cover. Flip this up and take our valve body off. 10mm on the pan. And a lot of metal. Hopefully it's the converter that came apart and not the planetaries. My filter bolts, I keep them separate. That way I don't have to hunt for them. There's 10mm to hold the valve body down. This harness is getting pretty brittle. we can still make these connectors stay in there. So we either buy a harness if we can get one, the way things are nowadays. Don't know. If we can't get one, there's ways to make that stay in there. 8mm on the temp sensor. A little bracket holds it down. Alright, 10mm on the valve body. This is the early model, you can tell because the solenoids are big. And keep our accumulator springs with our accumulators. Set them off to the side so that we know exactly which way and where to go. Alright, come on. Our cooler check valve and spring. Set that off to the side also. There's some seals, rubber seals that go between the valve body and the case. And then there's a little tube that goes and seals the center support. Go ahead and pull our harness out. And leave all the rest of that in there. There's no need to take that out. I'm trying to do this in a way that you can see it. On this end cover here, it looks like the planets are going to be bad. On the sealing ring grooves where the sealing rings ride, make sure there's not a bunch of play there. Got a bearing on the back here. Got a 10mm bolt holding these two tubes down. It's not very common, but it does happen. These tubes will crack. So you want to take and hold your finger over one end of the tubes and then squirt air in the other and make sure that there's no air coming out. Usually it'll crack right up in here, right back in here. I've seen a couple of these. These can do it also, but they're not as prone. Take the drum out, set it to the side. Usually these gear trains are either in really good shape or they're just wiped out. And our directs are welded together. Usually that's a pretty good indication of we might have a bad computer also when they're burnt up this bad. This hub should have just came out. There's another bearing here. The bearing on the back side here. If we'll be able to salvage our hub or not. Yeah, looks like not. There's a race here. If our teeth aren't messed up, we can probably reuse the drum. I don't know, it's coming out pretty tough. Make sure we're not ring cut back here. Yeah, could probably clean that up. We'll see what the rest of this unit looks like. Our sprag, it turns clockwise, locks counterclockwise. Washer, our shell. Snap rings down about the 5 o'clock position. I haven't ever paid attention to what the book says. I'm normally putting the opening up here. Our steels are pretty much toast. Pull that snap ring off and get our planet out. And the planets look okay so far. There's a bearing and a race back here. Yep. Looks like we got a pin coming out of the planet in here and it's rubbing on the back, so our gear train is done. So we might be calling it quits right here, because I know it's going to need a gear train. Pretty much needs everything. We'll see what the front end looks like. I hate to do it. I would like to show you the rest of the unit. And if we end up selling it, I might go ahead and finish tearing it down. We'll take a look at the front end. If the front's bad too, there's really not much point. There's a bearing back here. This will come sliding out once you put it, if you have a heated machine. This race and shim will come out of here too. And pull your differential out. Usually these aren't bad. I've never seen one bad yet. There's another race here. Mostly what I want to see is this pump any good? race just fell out. That was that big plank you heard. 12 millimeters on the pump. Bearing here. Bearing on the front side. Bearing on the back side. And a race that goes there. You want to be careful when you're taking this planet out. If the planet was good, that you don't mushroom this where this race sits. It needs to be flat. In order to get the nut off, you take the stake out of it, and then you can just hit it with a screwdriver. It comes right off. There's no need to buy a socket. Let's see. Let's see what our clutches look like in the forward drum. All of our steels are toast. .30 torques. Your surface here is okay. Gears. So dot goes up on the inner gear, dot goes up on the outer gear. I think our pump is salvageable. Let's see what this looks like. 10 millimeter on this. This bracket pulls this pin out of the park actuator. You can leave that in there. There's a spring and another pin there. There's really no need to take that out of there. I used to do it, but really ain't no point. Take it out apart. It's going to allow that to slide back. Gonna make me look dumb. These clutches are welded up down here also. Alright, I've only seen a couple of these were bad. There's no need to take all this apart. Just roll it around. Make sure your pinions are not chipped. If it rolls around smooth and they're not chipped, there's no need to take this apart. If any part of it's bad, you're replacing all of it anyway. This drum turns counterclockwise, locks clockwise. There's a bearing back here, the race right here. Let's see what these look like. We're going to need a kit with pistons and steels. Probably just need to buy a core. There's a snap ring here. The opening goes at the 3 o'clock. Sprag comes off. There's a rattle clip that just fell off. It goes on this part right here. And when we do the rebuild, we'll show you where it goes. It's going to fall off, so set it someplace safe. And then there's a snap ring holding this set of clutches. Alright, one set of good clutches. Alright, let me go tell them what we got. I have a feeling we're either getting a core or we're getting a used unit. Depends on how much money these people have. So, I'm not even going to bother to write this one up until we find out what we're going to do. If we don't get a used unit for it, I'll be back to finish the teardown. If we get a core, we'll be doing a new video on that, tearing down that unit. So we're at a standstill on this one.